Hello everybody, welcome to my channel. My name is Kate, also known as the Quirky Kate, and today we are talking about my 2022 book goals. Last year was actually quite a formative year. I guess I could say about reading. I've always been a big reader, but 2021 was the year that I discovered Bookstagram and Book Talk. I have always watched BookTube. I used to work at a bookstore for like many years while I was in university, but I never like went into it. But this year I discovered Bookstagram and Book Talk, and it like opened my eyes to this other world of books. It was a really good reading year for me because I joined Bookstagram, and through it I joined in July, and I've read 47 books since end of July. So I feel like that's probably the biggest reading year I've ever had. Prior to that, I maybe read 1 or 2 books a month, if that. So for this year, because I felt like I read 47 books from the end of July until the end of December, I felt like I could really challenge myself for 2022 without overwhelming myself. So that being said, I set my Goodreads book goal to, I think it was 100 books, which I think is totally doable because if I look at about 100 books, it's about 2 books a week, which some weeks maybe I won't read 2 books a week, but some weeks maybe I'll read more depending on, what my schedule is like, but I felt like it was doable. So that's going to be my goal for 2022 is 100 books. My second reading goal is actually to read more diverse books. So I dabbled with reading diverse books in 2021. Again, it was an eye-opening year in terms of reading for me in general. So I just read whatever. I read what I thought I would like, and then I read a lot of what was popular and what was recommended a lot to me. And a lot of the books that were recommended weren't diverse. So I didn't read intentionally read many diverse books, but for 2022, I definitely want to be more intentional about the books that I'm reading and include more diverse books in my reading plans. That is definitely a big goal for 2022. Which I'm really excited about because I did read some of my favorite books that I read in 2021 were actually written by diverse authors and were diverse storylines. So I'm excited about that. My next goal for 2022 is I want to actually read more genres. So I am a very big romance reader. It's my comfort genre. If I don't really know what to read or I'm feeling like I just need something that I know I will like, I tend to gravitate towards romance or like a YA fantasy. I was that girl, 10, 15 years ago when the dystopian books were popular. I was reading every single dystopian book in the YA genre. And I feel like I'm like that still with some of the YA fantasy. So I want to branch out more into the fantasy genre. I have a hard time grasping how heavy they can be because it's a lot of characters, a lot of world building, which I enjoy, but I find I can get overwhelmed with it. So I want to try and just experience it now as an adult, as opposed to when I tried to read it like in my early 20s. But I feel like I'm off to a good start. I've started reading the A Court of Thorns and Roses series, which isn't like an epic fantasy by any means, but it is more of an adult fantasy. Well, it is an adult fantasy. And it's my first time reading an adult fiction book in the fantasy genre and not being totally overwhelmed. So maybe that might change. I don't know. I want to definitely spend more time in that genre, and I want to spend more time reading in the mystery thriller genre because I do love mystery thrillers, but I don't read many of them because I just haven't found like the formula that works for me. I really love Lucy Foley. I love her writing. So really any books within that type of writing style is my like bread and butter. Like I feel like Agatha Christie, the locked door mysteries are right up my alley, but I want to definitely spend more time discovering new genres in 2022 and not just sticking with what I'm used to sticking with, if that makes sense. Of course, like stick with what's good, stick with what works, but I want to challenge myself as well too, because I have been loving the A Court of Thorns and Roses series, and I had no idea I would actually enjoy it. I would have totally walked past it before because it was a fantasy book, but it's it's like a fantasy romance. So it's still kind of within my wheelhouse. My fourth goal, I think it's my fourth goal, would be to utilize my Kindle more. So I have a Kindle. It's somewhere over here. I don't know where it is actually anymore. I've lost it. My Kindle is somewhere. Anyways, I want to utilize my Kindle more. I got a Kindle last year. I've really been enjoying reading from my Kindle, but I want to utilize it more. And really, when I say utilize the Kindle more, it's really utilizing Kindle Unlimited, which I have found a number of books that I enjoyed last year. I'll have Kindle Unlimited, but I definitely want to utilize it more because it will encourage me to not spend so much money on books. I feel like that's the trap within the community of like Book Talk or Bookstagram or even BookTube is the overconsumption of buying books that don't end up getting read. And I've definitely fallen victim of that a little bit, where I have gotten really excited about buying certain books that I've wanted to read. And I'm a mood reader, so then I will buy the books, but I don't feel like reading them at the time. And so I'll buy another book that I want to read. And so it carries on and the books just keep adding up. So my intention with utilizing my Kindle more would be I'm not actually buying any books that I'm not reading. I can add a book from Kindle Unlimited to my library, and if I don't end up reading it, I haven't wasted any money. Along with that is my next goal. I want to read more indie authors, and I feel like the Kindle Unlimited library has such a huge range of indie authors to pick from. And so I really want to be able to discover more indie authors and read more indie authors, and I feel like I can do that through Kindle Unlimited. In utilizing my Kindle as well, I know like I keep an eye out if there are certain authors or certain books that maybe I've been interested in reading. I take a look into Amazon, and sometimes they actually offer huge sales. So for example, the other day, The Charm Offensive was a huge book in 2021, and I didn't get around to reading it. I didn't buy it, even though I was really tempted to. But I actually saw the other day that it was available on Kindle for $2.99. So then I was able to purchase the book on Kindle for $3, and it's not taking up a ton of space on my bookshelf, and I'm not spending as much money as I would have if I bought the physical copy. That's kind of one very big goal for 2022, which is really spend less money on books, read more indie authors, and all of that kind of is encompassed within utilizing my Kindle more. So that's a really big goal. My last goal for 2022 is to finish some series. So I started a couple of different series in 2021 that I have not yet finished, and I really want to finish them this year. Some of those series are, of course, the A Court of Thorns and Roses series that I started. I'm on book 3. I have a feeling I will probably finish the series in January. I have them all right now, and I've been just devouring them. The next series that I want to finish reading is the A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, which I've absolutely loved that entire series. If you are wanting to dabble in mystery, but you're not quite sure if you can handle it, it's a YA mystery, but it's done so well. And the audiobook version, you have to listen to the audiobook version. It is straight up like listening to a true crime podcast, which if you are a true crime podcast listener like myself, then it's perfect. Another series that I want to finish reading this year is the Keynote of the Curse series. The third and final book of the series comes out this year, which I'm so excited for. It is probably my most anticipated book of 2022, and I want to finish the Bromance. So I started the Bromance book club series, which is a contemporary romance. I think it's a romance series, and it's quite a large series, and I've only read the first book in the series, which I really enjoyed, but I have not read any of the other books within the series. So I definitely want to complete some series so I don't have as many unfinished series sitting on my bookshelf or my metaphorical bookshelf. I'm a stickler for not finishing series because I get too caught up in other books. I get too excited over other books, and they just kind of fall to the wayside. So I definitely want to be able to finish them out. Ooh, and then I think I have a bonus goal, which I think I think it encompasses all of the other goals as well, but I think it's one of the most important goals, which is I want to utilize my public library more. I find that I am very much like an instant gratification. Like if I want the book, I want it now. So I don't have the patience to wait for a book from the library. But I definitely want to utilize my local public library more. And I think that obviously encompasses me spending less money on books, of course, but I want to put that used to my local library, and so I'm going to utilize that more. I have some of the apps that my library uses so I can download ebooks and listen to audiobooks, which I love listening to audiobooks, so it'll be perfect. But I definitely want to utilize that more. As you can see, I don't have a large library and I kind of enjoy it that way. I'm not a huge book collector. I just am a huge book reader. That is really it for my book goals for 2022. I'm sure they will change. I'm sure I will add more, but as of today, when I'm looking at 2020, those are like the big 5 or 6 goals that I have for this year. And I'm really excited to see where it takes me over the course of the year. And I'm excited to see what I'm going to read this year. I'm excited to finish up some series. I'm excited for some of the new books that are coming out. And really, I'm just excited to have fun reading this year. It's going to be a good year. I feel good about it. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you want to stick around, subscribe and leave a comment down below letting me know what your 2022 book goals are. I would love to hear it. If you want to follow along this year, follow me on Instagram. I'm at The Quirky Kate. I'm on my Instagram stories literally all the time and I always respond to my messages. So if you want to chit chat about different books, feel free to message me. Until next time, bye.